What's up guys, Everett Smith here from Easy NYC Real Estate, and today I want to talk to you about what's going on in the market. We've been talking about for a very long time that it's a buyer's market, and we're starting to see some evidence of that shifting slightly over the next couple of months. Lastly, I want to talk about the renter's market, whether you are renting for yourself or you're renting as an investor. Some of the things that we're starting to see are going to impact your decisions on whether or not you are taking that next step to either become a landlord, or if you are coming back to the city after fleeing for the past year. Oh my God, it's been a year. It is March 2021. We are nearing the end of Q1. February was no exception of what's been a strong last several months of the New York City market in general. With that being said, I want to say if you like videos like this, please like it and subscribe for even more content in the future, and let's get underway. So first, I want to dive into this Manhattan report, and you can see this is the range actually from the past year plus 2 months, because I want to show you what happened in January 2020, again, a year ago now, before the pandemic actually happened. But I usually like to focus on the ones that I have highlighted down at the bottom. Average list price and median list price when you are looking at a specific type of property can be very helpful, but when you are looking at the market as a whole, they can be very misleading. As you know, a $15 million sale might skew this a little bit higher, and that's the reason why I tend to not look at that when doing a general market report. I'd like the number of properties sold, but generally after you sign a contract, it could be some time before a property even actually closes, depending on what the buyer and seller agree to, so I don't like to use that again for my metrics. I like to focus on the amount of new listings coming to market, the contracts signed, the listing inventory in total, and the price per square foot, because we can tell a pretty interesting story with just these few details. So let's start first with looking at the amount of new listings. And you can see from this graph, it's been all over the place, but you know, we generally tend to see new listings come on the market within the new year, so this doesn't really surprise me. What does is the steep amount of new listings that came on. So this was almost at 2,000, which again is higher than it's really ever been. So sellers coming to market within the new year, that has taken quite the increase, and you know, might level out within the next couple months. But as the spring market approaches, I feel like number for March may even tick back up. When we're talking about contracts signed, this was when, you know, in January of last year, we thought the market was picking up, and then it dropped because of COVID. Now, what we are seeing is not only did we have that huge shoot up in January, I think I said it last month, where we had the most amount of contracts signed since basically 2018, but that number is still pretty high. And then let's talk about the average price per square foot. This is quite the dip, right? This is over a period of time, so it looks like it's starting to level out since the year is coming to a new beginning. Before I continue any further, I want to take a moment to stop and say the information provided to you in these market reports is as accurate as is being fed to me. It will not include everything possible. If you're thinking that this applies to specific amount of bedrooms, if you're thinking that this applies to specific neighborhoods within Manhattan, it is not that deep. It is just giving you an overview from the top. However, if you would like a more specific market report for your neighborhood or for a specific apartment type that you're looking for, I want to encourage you to text me at 646-653-4764 so that I can give you a full detailed market report for your neighborhood, or again, the type of apartments you're looking for, so that you can have better understanding of how this information relates to your specific details and how you can use it to make a decision for the future. Now, back to Brooklyn. according to this, right, the number of new listings, we're not at our peak, we're not at our lowest, which was in April. If you ask anyone right now, we're seeing a general amount of inventory shortage because it seems like the new properties coming to market are going into contract more quickly. And that you'll see here, we've had a steady amount of contracts between the last few months and, February being one of the highest months that we've seen in Brooklyn. So it doesn't look like that trend is going to change anytime soon. What's interesting here though is the average price per square foot dropping in this way. And there could be a couple of reasons for this. I'm more apt to think this might be due to people who might have been in their homes for a longer period of time. What we've been seeing a lot over the past is a lot of new development inventory hitting the market, which always generally has higher price per square foot. And, if a property needs renovations, or again, if it's an older property, that might make this price per square foot drop on the general basis. And so now I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the factors that might be shifting things in our market right now. First of all, and probably the most obvious, is mortgage rates. We have seen mortgage rates starting to increase and slowly creep their way back up. They are still historically low, so don't be afraid by hearing, oh, mortgage rates are increasing, you gotta make a move now if you're trying to make a move. There are mortgage lenders and brokers who can lock your rate in so that you wouldn't have to worry about that. This is a slow creep. This isn't something that happens overnight, but if you are a buyer and you were thinking about making a move or a purchase because rates are so low, your opportunity for that is starting to come to a halt. And it is important to keep that in mind, where if you're saying, oh, maybe next year I'll purchase something, or the year after that, as those rates creep up, you're going to have less and less purchasing power. So that is one thing that you definitely want to keep in mind. The second thing that I want to talk about is, with the inventory low or stagnant or not enough new inventory coming out, that can actually cause a seller's market, because as new sellers come out with new properties for these buyers that have been on the market to take a look at, it creates a frenzy around new listings market. So let's say you got buyers A, B, and C who have been looking on the market for, the past 10 months. They've exhausted their options and they've seen everything. They've been in a few bidding wars at this point, and then the perfect property for all three of these buyers comes out. That's going to spark either another bidding war, increased pricing over asking, things like that, which is going to be in the favor of the sellers. So that's another thing that you're gonna wanna keep in mind. Just because it becomes or starts shifting to a seller's market doesn't mean that whatever price that you pull out of thin air is going to work and sell your property. When you're pricing your home, it's very smart to look at closing comparables in the area to see if what you're asking makes sense for buyers looking out there, because if you are still overpriced, then you are still going to be on the market for a longer period of time, and it's going to continuously decrease the perceived value of your home. So that's one thing that you definitely still want to keep in mind if you are planning or thinking about coming to market. The amount of activity that we're having does make it a bit favorable for sellers if you're looking to list your property right now. And again, if you want a free comparative market analysis, feel free to text me at 646-653-4764, and I'll be happy to get one of those over to you so you can know if you're gonna get the price that you'd like for your home. So the last thing I want to talk about is the rental market, because it is still all over the place. We are still seeing high vacancy rates. We are still seeing concessions giving out 1 month, 2 months, 3 months free. I even saw 5 months free at one point. I don't know what kind of building you have to be giving out 5 months of additional free rent. It's usually more high-end buildings, to be quite honest with you. If you're looking for something like that and it fits the bill, it's totally within reason for you. And renters, I still encourage you to ask people for those discounts, because if you're not, then you're doing yourself a disservice. I want to address the landlords for a second. Yes, we are seeing people who are sick of living with their parents. They are sick of being outside the city and being in the rural areas. They're sick of not having people living on top of them. They're true New Yorkers at the end of the day, and they want to come back. With that in mind, if you are setting your properties up, spending time to make them look nice, or if you're spending money on renovations, taking the time to make sure that it's priced well within the market so that you can get a lot of activity and a quick lease out, now's the time to start if you haven't already. There are more people going out there looking for properties, and there are more contracts being signed in general. In my opinion, it is not a time to invest in a new property unless you see the value in something like a 2-bedroom that is maybe a little bit smaller but offers, 2 people that want to move in together, a good amount of space. It's tough. It's really tough right now. And I would be lying to you if I said I can rent you out your property for the highest amount that you're expecting right now. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't have laundry and you don't have outdoor space of any kind, it's going to be difficult. Right now is the time to gear your properties up and give them the upgrades they need in order to get the highest amount possible, because you're going to have renters who are asking you, oh, hey, can you drop your price an extra $200? Or, hey, can I get an extra month free on top of what you're already offering? Those renters are still out there. But again, it's all about negotiating and giving or taking based on the situation and what works for you and what's feasible. If you've been kind of on the pulse waiting for those properties to hit the fire sale, it's too early. Evictions are still on hold. You're not going to see a lot of properties foreclosing right now. When that starts to take effect and when that starts to come into play, we'll definitely have more information for you on that. But for the meantime, if you're in it for the long haul, strap in. Otherwise, take your money, potentially look at what you could sell your property for. If it makes sense for you, see about when you got in and how you might get out. There's a lot of buyers looking right now, a lot of people looking to move, and a lot of people that maybe couldn't afford what they were looking for before, with the rate so low, can afford it now. So it might be a great time to consider selling for that reason. So that's all I got. That is my market report. I want to thank you for taking the time out to view this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, comment below, or send me a text message. This has been Easy NYC Real Estate, where I make New York City real estate easy for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.